How do we put that, because I really want to focus on that a little bit on this next question, because it's a topic that is almost never discussed in most business panels, but I think it's very key. Can you please just elaborate on it a bit?
So when you go back to the beginning of time, and you'll discover, and you shouldn't give the preacher the mic, but I need to share one or two truths that will help you understand that, because you are absolutely right when you said religion has created more problems than anything else in our world. And so when you go back to the beginning of time, you'll find that when God said, let us make man in our image and our likeness, He made you as an exact duplicate and kind of who He is. Yeah. But there was no religion in there. He said, and let them rule. This is both male and female. So when you start off there, it's a good starting point to understand that you come from God. So when our speaker spoke about the confidence where it comes from, it's so wonderful to know that you don't just come out from your natural father, but there is a greater purpose and a plan for your life. And those are the things that when I finally realized that, I didn't have to be fearful about what you thought about me. I don't have to be scared about the color of my skin, because God wanted me as a colored man. And so the fight is real for all of us. Whether it be you getting into Yale or dealing with the universities, or a colored man coming up, or a little black, colored, Indian, white. I mean, the whites, they feel they're at a disadvantage now. The blacks thought they were, before, for me, I wasn't white enough. Now I'm not black enough. But the good news for that is that my confidence doesn't come from the government. It comes from the fact that I come out of God. Sure. And that's where the confidence is.
I think that also was very, very important. I think it came up from the earlier speeches this morning, is that a very critical component of our lives is balance. That you have the right mental, spiritual, physical balance, which is very important, and irrespective of what sort of spiritual path you follow. I think it's important that you spend some time on it all the time to make sure that you have the mental balance in terms of what you do. It affects your ability to think, your ability to decide. It's quite important. And the same thing goes with the physical part of it, keeping fit, ensure that you eat well, and from a learning point as well. We must never stop learning. In all aspects of the job, whether it's related or not related. Always keep reading, always have the newspaper available, always be on the internet. Just make sure that every day there's a new learning process. I said, yeah.
On my side, I can say there is something powerful about time. It can't be touched, it can't be felt. It's so powerful that it questions, or it brings men, races, different generations or different countries or wherever they're coming from, to ask, where does time come from? And I can say time comes from the Creator. And it is because of time that we are here today. Time itself already gives us that. In business, I believe, if you don't honor time, if you don't respect time, sometimes you lose clients. So I believe that spirituality and business go hand in glove, in my understanding. I believe that it's a hand in a glove.
My understanding is that spirituality is actually where man comes from. So we are not talking about something that is very different from where we are. We know that man is first a spiritual being before you are a physical being. So if you are putting success and spirituality together, you will actually go back to the foundation of time. We are not trying to live out our experiences now. We are basically just finishing something that was already started. So God started from the beginning of time, and when you don't start, you don't finish. Our responsibility, therefore, connecting with our souls, connecting with where we are coming from. So understanding the purpose of life, you need to understand the founder of life. And the founder of life is God. Success cannot happen outside of God. It doesn't matter. I'm not talking about religion, I'm talking about spirituality. So being successful is basically what God said right at the beginning, that we are here not to just live as mere mortals and die. We are here actually to have a meaningful impact, a life that is actually going to empower more people, so that this world actually that we leave behind is better off than the one that we found. So spirituality is the foundation. That is where we're coming from. And becoming successful is not something that it's only because we want to be successful. But when God designed man, he had a plan in mind that this man would actually have dominion. That is what I want to say.
Oh, thank you very much. To me, because I also deal with a lot of young entrepreneurs, and we're living in a very interesting time whereby there's too much information. Even the youth, they don't know how to process it. So some of them, they believe that there's no God. I believe there's God. I'm a Christian. So the question that I'll ask for those who believe that there's no God, when you are born, you find everything here. So that also put you in a position to think further. To me, I believe that we are created to manage and multiply. We were not created to own anything. Whether you believe in God, which I believe, or you believe on ancestors, you are not, you were not created to own anything. Wow. So being, your spiritual being is very important. And I actually started learning about this because when I met Robert Kiyosaki, because I was also confused like any other entrepreneur. When I was starting my journey, I decided to educate myself. I believe in personal development. So I asked him, so what is it that someone has to have as an entrepreneur that will help you to become very successful? He said, the more you make money, the more people are looking forward to take money from you. Yeah. But the most important thing that you'll have, whether you are up there or you are down, you're alone. It's your spiritual being. So it is very important to understand that you are a spiritual being with temporary human experience. You have been given this body just to glorify God's presence through your gifts and talents. So it depends on the talent that you have. If you're an economist, that's your talent. If you're good in administration, that's your talent. If you're a teacher, that's your talent. So to sum up, because of the time, so just understand that you are a spiritual being with temporary human experience, and you have to manage and multiply whatever that you find when you're born through your gifts and talent.
That's very profound. That's very profound, and it's very unfortunate that in meetings like this, more organizers, and I'm guilty myself, that we always put people in a panel and rush them like you've got 10 minutes. There are some things that can be, shared in 10 minutes, but we are gonna keep it short. And I think what's coming out, I'm gonna give KK one last round, just to to have one last question. There's gonna be a sum up, but I think really what's coming out of here from this panel very strongly is that the moral being of who we are, our moral degeneration, and that is why Africa has a problem. And we see it a lot in South Africa, we see it a lot in our government, we see it a lot in our companies, we see it a lot in corruption, in fraud, and all of those things, which means we really are losing it as a people. And it doesn't mean it's an African problem. I mean, it's a world problem. But as upcoming and emerging entrepreneurs, how do we step into that space? As we are here today in the name of Muteba, you need to ask yourself that question to say, and I'm so happy that this topic came up today, of the spirituality and the moral, to say, as I step in, what am I willing to do to succeed? What am I willing to do to get further?